Welcome back to SuperString. Today I will show you an awfulness, spine chiller film from 2020, named the Superdeep. Spoilers ahead. Look out and fare thee well. In 1984, disease transmission expert Anna Fedorova loses her exploration partner while the testing of an immunization turns out badly. Feeling remorseful for having approved testing on people without primer or creature testing first, Anna needs to close down the undertaking, yet Colonel Yuri Morozov stops her. Closing down the venture could help her vibe somewhat worse, and the fighters in Africa need her, assuming that she surrenders now. Her companion would have kicked the bucket in vain. Months after the fact, Anna is enjoying New Year's Eve with loved ones who salute her for having concocted an immunization so quick. Their supper is interfered with by a call from Morozov, who needs Anna for an exceptional mission. There's been an episode at the Kola Superdeep borehole. A few commotions have been heard and individuals vanished, so the station has been closed down and will be fixed in 24 hours. The head of exploration has been reproved for concealing information on an apparently obscure infection, and that is the reason they need Anna. After Morozov guarantees her full credit for the disclosure and the place of top of the Military Biological Defense Institute, Anna acknowledges and prepares to leave. Toward the beginning of the day, Anna shows up at the station along with Morozov, and a gathering of officers drove by Major Sergei Mikheyev and his right-hand Igorov. When they land, however, they as of now experience their most memorable issue. A researcher has gotten away from the station with an explosive close by that he explodes when he arrives at the helicopter. The gathering hears a humming in their ears for a couple of moments, yet fortunately they're generally all right. Anna burns through no time and goes to really look at the researcher's body to assemble an example, while Sergei prods her for her pronunciation, attempting to think about where it's from. The example in any case goes to clean when Anna puts the top on the test cylinder, and she can't resist the urge to see a bizarre red gleam on the body also. One of the station's watchmen makes sense of that the researcher went off the deep end when he arrived at the surface, and he was so solid, not so much as 3 fighters could stop him. The remainder of the staff is being cleared now, so Anna goes to take tests from them before they leave. One of the men tells her everybody's dead down there, and the infection is obviously false, so she ought to run back to her loved ones. Every one of the diggers appear all good, however the one with the scar saw something that has terrified him, so Anna figures it could be an excess of an illness. Subsequently, Anna, Morozov, and the crew of warriors enter the station with head researcher Pyotr Kuznetsov and Dr. Dmitry Grigoriev. Anna attempts to pose a few inquiries about the secretive contamination, however Grigoriev won't give her subtleties since he believes they're all here with ulterior rationale. He'll just assistance them enough so they can get their example and assurance of protected clearing for every one of the survivors, no more. Anna needs to know why he even secured the survivors in any case, however Grigoriev doesn't answer that by the same token. The gathering comes to the lift, where Grigoriev must be cautious while crediting the entrance code on the grounds that missing the point entirely multiple times makes the lift crash as a safety effort. Fortunately he gets it right on the 3rd attempt, so the party starts dropping into the most profound synthetic opening on the planet. At the point when they arrive at their floor, however, the brakes don't answer, so Grigoriev decompresses the lift and puts on a breathing apparatus while the remainder of the gathering drops. At the point when they awaken a couple of seconds after the fact, Grigoriev has left with the lift key. It appears they've come to the office's retreat, which is the region the staff lives in more often than not. The principal research level is even lower, and there is a second lift that can take them there, yet they can't actuate it without the key. This region used to be packed consistently, however presently, they just tracked down just 2 leftover staff individuals, Engineer Nikolay and Dr. Kira Vitalievna, who were abandoned during the underlying clearing. Kira takes them to the lab, so Anna can take tests from both and take a gander at them in the magnifying instrument, affirming neither of them is contaminated. It appears Grigoriev had everything arranged, and they were left around here deliberately on the grounds that it's perfect from any potential indications of the infection, so they'll have to search for an appropriate source somewhere else. Discussing Grigoriev, he uncovers himself to Anna to request that she return the group to the surface through the shafts and save themselves while they can in light of the fact that individuals ought to generally be the need. Anna calls the troopers to catch him, however before they can contact him, Grigoriev evades utilizing the lift, just abandoning a bloodstain on the entryway. They choose to send a gathering of warriors drove by Igorov into the shaft, which they need to compel open in light of the fact that Grigoriev had fixed it up. While the warriors put on defensive suits to endure the unquestionably high temperatures of the lower levels, the shaft entryways abruptly open, all alone uncovering lab colleague Olga Krylova looking fairly debilitated subsequent to strolling through the intensity to contact them. The warriors salvage her and take her to the lab, then, at that point, go down the shaft. Prior to firing the examination, Anna asks Olga a few inquiries, however she doesn't remember anything of what occurred down there. She's additionally igniting with fever, despite the fact that she says she's virus. Whenever Anna removes her outfit, she makes an upsetting revelation on Olga's back. It's covered with appalling mold-like developments, which Olga claims don't do any harm, not in any event, when Anna makes a slice to take an example. While the troopers report having discovered some sort of life in the lower level, Anna puts the example under the magnifying lens and finds it's a cell parasite, some exceptionally destructive type of shape. Parasites and shape are the most unconcentrated on types of life, and this one is obscure, so that is enough for Morozov to end this activity and begin heading back. Nikolay starts dealing with the lift framework to compel it to return, which will assume control more than 60 minutes. Sergei attempts to contact his group once more, however they appear to be in a tough situation at seeing something risky and don't answer their walkie-talkies any longer. At that point, Grigoriev gets in touch with them through the speakers and lets them know he had trusted they would escape through the shafts, so presently they leave him no decision. Grigoriev continues to set off a bomb to seal them generally inside the office as he requests pardoning, and Anna is helped to remember her own responsibility connected with the antibody when the region begins shaking around her in view of the blast. In the lab, Olga's body starts to sparkle, and she gradually lets completely go, exploding the glass and going after Kira. In the interim, Nikolay finds that the blast harmed the strain siphon and will make the office break down soon. He needs to figure out how to get out and shows no consideration for the troopers caught in the lower levels, procuring him a punch from Sergei. In any case, Morozov concurs that returning for those officers is excessively hazardous, so they'll leave through the shafts. Sergei goes with Anna to the lab to recover Olga and they observe an extremely unsavory amazement. The whole spot is covered with foam, and Olga is half dissolved to the floor yet at the same time alive. On the opposite side of the entryway, Morozov doesn't mind that Anna is encircled by tainting without security and orders her to take tests at any rate. Whenever she and Sergei draw nearer, however, Olga starts delivering a haze of spores, so Sergei runs out of the room and Anna ventures back and gets a cover to try not to inhale them in. That is the manner by which she runs over Kira, who has been contaminated and changed like Olga, and she bites the dust when her bones abruptly jab out. Anna attempts to leave the room and has another culpability-related fantasy when she slips, yet this permits her to track down a fire quencher. She utilizes it to clean the air around her so she can open the entryway without the shape getting away, and subsequent to shutting it once more, she requests that Nikolay utilize the dowser on her body to sanitize her. A while later, Anna goes to mind Sergei, yet all at once it's past the point of no return. He's now tainted and has lost his sight. Whenever she informs everybody concerning Kira, Pyotr makes sense of that it isn't extraordinary. This strange form resembles the organism that assumes control over a subterranean insect and makes it return to its home so it can deliver its spores and contaminate every other person. Anna requests that Morozov talk in private so she can educate him regarding her revelation. The shape passes on when presented to cold, and it's been utilizing human bodies to get by in the upper region's permafrost. She needs to remain with Sergei to look for the last survivors, while Morozov returns to the surface and calls a salvage group. However, this isn't so much as a choice. The office will be closed down in 5 hours, there's no one coming. Morozov orders everybody to get ready so they can leave, however at that point, they get a message from Igorov asking them not to open the entryway, regardless of whether it's for them. After a long contention, Pyotr reminds them this is their main opportunity at Endurance, so should open the entryway in any case. They send 3 warriors down the shaft to examine first, yet 2 immediately come back after taking shots at something important that attempted to go after them, yet they couldn't distinguish. The 3rd officer additionally returns without an arm, and he closes things with a blade just before the gathering shuts the entryway. Whatever is in the shaft presently realizes they are there, so it starts pummeling the way to attempt to get out. The gathering takes off and comes to the rear of the area to see the lift at long last showing up. Nikolay starts chipping away at a method for dropping it down, trusting the crisis brakes will hold. Sergei's body begins sparkling, and he realizes he doesn't have a lot of time left, so he chooses to remain behind with his men to attempt to stop the puzzling substance, which has at last separated the entryways. Anna, Nikolay, Pyotr, and Morozov get in the lift and hold tight as it starts tumbling down. The strain makes it difficult for Nikolay to arrive at the brake switch, so Anna needs to leave her seat and do it without anyone's help. Fortunately, she pulls it in the nick of time, and the lift securely arrives on the least switch, as would be considered normal. Every one of the rooms are covered with ice, and a recording from a researcher lets them know he likewise sorted out the shape is powerless to the cold, and the ice age must have kept it underground such a long time. Eventually, however, it'll sort out that the permafrost has an end, and it could get away from this thing, has previously figured out how to dissolve bodies together for warmth and power. This is the justification for why the gathering tracks down no survivors. They're stuck on the divider in a monster softened heap of shape that has passed on from cold. Morozov takes the last suit and enters the 200 degrees climate to attempt to recuperate the lift key from Grigoriev. While they sit tight for him, Anna asks Nikolay and Pyotr not to express anything about this shape when they return to the surface, since it would carry more individuals to explore, seriously endangering humankind. Nikolay acknowledges, however Pyotr is reluctant on the grounds that he had been expecting to make a major revelation that set him up for life. Whenever Morozov takes too lengthy to even consider returning, Anna chooses to enter the hot region next with next to no security, since in principle, the human body can make do there for a couple of moments. As rankles start showing up on her body, Anna finds Morozov dead on the floor on the grounds that the suit had been attacked by Grigoriev. He has the lift key in his grasp, so in the wake of seeing the shape gleaming on the dividers, Anna takes the key and runs back inside. Nikolai attempts to help her, yet Pyotr unexpectedly shoots his leg and requests to be given the lift key so he can go out and get the popularity he merits for this disclosure. They give him the key, and Pyotr requires the second lift with the two of them, keeping them at gunpoint. At the point when they return to the retreat level, they go to the main lift hall to examine, and Pyotr attempts to keep Anna behind so he can get into the lift alone. However, he's out of nowhere gone after by the peculiar substance from the shaft. It's a revolting animal made of the contaminated staph individuals that have been dissolved into one organic entity. There is yet alive and shouting while the animal kills Pyotr. Anna takes off and stows away in the rec lobby, yet the animal comes after her, so she snatches a blade and enters the cooler. There she gets a thought. She takes off the majority of her garments and throws a can of freezing water on her body, so her temperature is excessively cold for the form to taint her. Then she emerges and creeps under the animal to take the lift key from Pyotr, who has likewise been retained. Locking the entryways behind her, Anna surges out of the rec corridor and tracks down Nikolai so they can escape together. Notwithstanding, the animal tracks down them by getting through the divider, so the pair takes off until they arrive at the lift and figure out how to push the entryways shut right as the animal attempts to reach inside. The lift begins going up, however Nikolai and Anna have one final shock hanging tight for them. Sergei is additionally there with them, softening into the floor and imploring them to accomplish something as he hacks out spores. Anna stops the lift since she would rather not take the form outside, yet Nikolai would rather not pass on here and initiates it once more. Both of them start battling about control of the lift, and when Nikolai is going to kill Anna, Sergei powers his body to do one final exertion. He raises his arm and uses the presented issue that remains to be worked out Nikolai first. To show her appreciation, Anna lets Sergei know that she's from Yugoslavia and kisses him prior to getting to chip away at the lift. Anna puts some unacceptable code multiple times will crash it, so she begins punching numbers, which demonstrates surprisingly troublesome on the grounds that she's been contaminated as well, and her body has begun sparkling, so she feels powerless with torment. The two first attempts go gradually yet, indeed, however she scarcely puts around 50% of a phony code when the lift comes to the surface, so she needs to battle against the grip of the salvage group to punch the last numbers. The lift begins the fall to pieces succession and tumbles down as Anna leaves with the new group in a van. Encircled by troopers, she takes the risk to take a projectile from them and gets off the vehicle when the van leaves the office. Seeing more researchers are showing up, Anna approaches them and explodes the projectile, matching the start of the story.